we move from the Premier League, let's have a little touch up on the defending champions. Well, they aren't really doing much defending,
So,
to tell you the truth. Anfield is no longer a fortress,
Love to see it.
and I know you are even more upset that Man United wasn't able to get the all 3 points when we played them. But like as I said, I think, and it might sound crazy, that Liverpool might have to move on from Klopp. This just reminds me of the latter years at Dortmund. He built a system, and then he had 2 years of great performances. When he was at Dortmund, they went to a Champions League final, back-to-back Bundesliga winners. They won the German Cup, and they were dominating Germany and doing very well in Europe. And the same thing we saw with Liverpool, dominating in England, doing well in Europe, and then they reach a peak, injuries hit them, and then everything is just going all right.
So what I say, there are a couple of things, right? So, and the last point you raised, I've seen where Klopp pull all Salah from a losing position and pull Salah and bring on somebody else. So I think I think him under a bit of pressure, right? Not only that, but we have to say that, them having a poor go at it where injuries are concerned, right? And I knew Van Dijk would be a big loss for them because of his presence in the side. Van Dijk a big defender, right?
Yeah.
But I think, in reputation even bigger than he is.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that, and then by having taken Fabinho out of the midfield and put him in the defense, so they've been faced with a lot of injury concerns. And then what would have they play a high intensity form of football, right?
Yeah.
And the end of last season into this season, you're playing a lot of matches a lot quicker, right? And Liverpool is a team that is expected to compete on all fronts. So these players have short turnaround times. You have disruption in terms of players coming down with corona, etc. So I think a lot of things have not gone in their favor, and you cannot underscore the fact that Anfield is a terrible place to go with fans there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not that scary anymore. It's just Anfield. You know what I mean? There's no pressure on the referee. There's no pressure on you, taking a corner. So, a lot of that has taken has taken away from their performance. But I think if you look at their side, to be fair to them, Van Dijk out, all of the centre backs them out, and you have to take apart your midfield, playing them around there. You really just have 3 men up top.
And then you lose a midfielder.
As well. So putting that in context, I don't feel like it's time to move from Klopp as yet. If it was a case like when he was at Dortmund, if he started experiencing mortality in his squad, like attrition, where as usual, Bayern Munich start pick one or few players from here and there, and some players start move on. You started to see that, and I think the core team did kind of start to move. But I think right now it might be too early. Definitely too early. He might have too much capital for you Lego him right now. And Liverpool over the last couple of years have stuck with managers that were absolute trash for years and now perform. So I think based on the capital we have and based on the injury problems that he's had this season, you have to just give him a gimme season.
Yeah, I was saying, I sit there and say, boy, Diego would be a hard person
Yeah,
to
man,
report to. Man, and let's take it right away.
No.
But Diego,
Got you.
Because, I agree with everything Kevin has said. Klopp has won the Champions League and the Premier League after a 30-year wait, right? When you look at it, not only lose Van Dijk, which is a big issue because they were performing a little bit without Van Dijk, but then they lost Joe Gomez. Then they lost Matip, right? And he had to stick with 2 central midfielders around the back, weakening in midfield. John Henderson get injured. So his injury crisis, from his in terms of his backline, which does a lot of his attacking, because what you literally see now is how ineffective his wing backs now become.
Yeah.
Because now, because you don't have Van Dijk and or Joe Gomez, right? You're seeing the deficiencies more of Trent Alexander-Arnold, who before wasn't really required to defend. Trent was to get forward, cross the ball in the box, and he was very good at that for score goals.
And not only that too, I don't continue, but not having Fabinho there for us come
Yes.
out of the middle
Yes.
and slap that space when Trent escaped.
So literally what they would have done, Liverpool would have done so well is that the wing backs push up high and you pretty much have that 3 men around the back line.
Yeah.
Joe Gomez, Van Dijk and Fabinho. And that was a wall that was, pretty solid. So all Trent had to focus on was if I need to get back and cover space and move forward again. Now he actually has to do some defending. I was seeing some weakness there. So the impact of that fall off in the back line, I think that hit them hard. And then I don't think the board supported Klopp enough. So I don't think they should be going around sacking him, right? Because you knew from October, however early, Van Dijk and Joe Gomez got injured. It was before our international break, right?
Okay.
I remember it was one of those breaks when I was calling for Ole to be sacked. And it never happened.
Still living.
Still living, right? And from that time, the board should have been looking and saying, okay, we're out with 2 defenders. We need to get a proper centre-back in the club January 1st. Liverpool signed 2 centre-backs. Well, bring in one on loan, I believe, from Schalke, who kind of struggling.
Relegation zone there,
And a baller from Preston North End, right, for 2 million. At the end of the last day, so you played all of January without bringing in 2 centre backs, and you knew from October, however early, that you needed that. So he was not backed by the board to get things done. If the board did say, okay, here we're going to get you a strong centre back, right? Spend some money, get a strong centre back to get you through to the end of the season, and you're still failing, then even then, you still need to give him more time, right? You can't sack him. And then it is the age-old problem that a lot of portfolio managers will talk about, right? You sell it, what do you buy? You sack him, who do you get? Right?
Yeah.
Who out there is better suited for Liverpool right now? Klopp connects with the fans. I think there would be a total uproar if you were to sack Klopp right now. I think the fans, I have not heard a Liverpool fan say, let's move past Klopp. I think Steven Gerrard came out the other day and said, no Liverpool fan wants me to coach, everybody wants Klopp to coach, right? So that is a message that he's sending, supporting.
And I haven't heard any rival fans say, yeah, it's time to let go of Klopp.
Yeah.
But all right, what I'm saying is that we see a trend. Just like Jose, we saw a trend where first 2 years we see some wonderful things from Jose Mourinho, and then the third year it goes off about. He had a one-off with Inter where his third year was actually his best, right? And what I'm seeing with Klopp, I'm not saying that Klopp deserves to be sacked, but I saw at Dortmund, it was an 8-year stretch.
Yeah.
He carried Dortmund from when they were facing relegation and they were bankrupt, and he developed a system, and he had 2 great years. And then they hit the wall. And one of the reasons why they hit the wall is that Klopp is also stubborn. He wants to continue to play this fast-paced system. And what was happening there was wear and tear. Because just like at Liverpool, we had Van Dijk was at a fulcrum for his defense and to actually play the ball out. He had Matt Hummels. And Matt Hummels and other centre-backs were getting injured. And you're like, okay, certain players aren't there. You have to change the formation and tactics for a little while until they come back. And he continued, and the wear and tear continued, and Dortmund continued to hit the wall, and they were having just the same results like Liverpool, So it's not like I'm saying Klopp is a bad coach or not, but some Liverpool might say, okay, Klopp, we're going to give you a year or so to see if this is just because a corona or just injury, just a bad injury, but it might be a repeat of Dortmund.
To be fair to Klopp, right? Van Dijk's injury wasn't wear and tear. Van Dijk's injury was a very bad tackle from a goalkeeper.
That is true.
Right? That got him out. So that alone does tell you that he's unfortunate, right? Jordan Henderson now is wear and tear. And Jordan Henderson is wear and tear as a result of he's older and there's a depleted squad. So now you're depending on John Henderson to play more matches because you have already lost 3 defenders. Joe Gomez had proven to be fairly injury prone before. So I don't think it's when Klopp, kind of come in, you see injuries. And it's the same thing with Matip to some extent. So I don't think Klopp's program impact those players. A lot of players are still kicking on and you don't see a lot of injuries. So Mane is still kicking on, Firmino and Salah, right? You can argue Thiago has already had injury problems before in his history. So they had a few players out that some of them you may say, all right, maybe because of the regime, but a lot of it I say he's rather unfortunate.
What I said to be fair to Jose, right? I've always heard this narrative. Right? First of all, Jose should not have been sacked at Chelsea in his 3rd season. There was no time for it, but that was us. And chances are, Jose finished the season who's saying wouldn't win the league that year. It was the same side. When he went to Real Madrid now, you have to contextualize that period because he was playing against the best team I've ever seen play football at that point in time, and he was able to here and there break up that monopoly that they had. Why Jose? And I think since then, Jose has never been the same since Real Madrid. It's the first time in his career he's lost a dressing room. When Jose left Chelsea, you could call it his dressing room 10 years after. The core of the side, it was the first time he lost a dressing room, and because the board used him as a scapegoat to get out Casillas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Casillas, if anybody knows anything about Casillas in Spain, everybody loves Casillas.
Yeah, he's well up.
Regardless of which side of the fence you're on, Barca.
Sure.
When Jose get out Casillas, that was his demise, Everybody turned against him. And then since then, I think he's been unhinged because he came back to Chelsea, and even though a lot of the core was kind of moving on, Drogba wasn't there. Drogba finished after the Champions League victory, and then you had these Hazards now. You had these Oscars and these other players who them don't know Jose. The Lampards were coming to the end of their time. So I think when we phrase the narrative that Jose after 3 seasons, I think it's unfair for a couple of reasons like that. I think Man U will definitely have a 3 season, but Man U never good enough. That was the truth. Jose actually overachieved when he bring in Zlatan and do all of that great thing in 1 year. But what Jose is used to, and him being at Tottenham now, I was even shocked that Jose did the Tottenham job because it's not the caliber of players that's used to. But a point I want to make in terms of you talking about Klopp also is that I don't think 6, 7, 8 years you have to change your manager. For me, I've changed my manager rapidly and success comes with it. I think we don't have the longevity there anymore because the truth is, great managers, if you look at them, if you look at the Klopp and you look at the Joses and you look at the Peps, they have a playing style. At some point in time, you have to figure out how to play against them and you'll see problems. Only Pep, typically because he got a club where he can get the money, he can replenish his players a lot better. So, if you're not going to continually get those players to enhance that system, it will stop work at a time. Scolari come at Chelsea and tear apart the league for the first 6 months. Wing back flying down the wing, Ashley Cole and Bus wing up. And the man them say, watch your style. We know say the wing back, he never have a plan B. We sack him before the end of the season. So I think when you look, it will continue to be something like some musical chairs going on where different coaches bring in them style, and then after a while, people watch the tapes and say, alright, this is how I'm like to play.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright. Like I said, I'm not saying that.
No, you're not saying that. But
if history repeats,
consider it.
I
let him go. Let him go.
He'd be well compensated if I was on the Liverpool board, but sometimes,
Let him go, man.
I don't know if you guys watch NFL, but there's a coach called Bill Belichick.
Yeah, man,
and he says that he's willing to cut a player 1 year early than 1 year late. Sometimes coaches should be cut 1 year early or 1 year late.
Cut Tom Brady too early.
Yeah, he didn't understand that. Alright,